Welcome. We are discussing our second chapter, Calculus of Scalar Fields. Today, we are going to start our 10th module, Homogeneous Functions and Euler's Theorem. In the earlier two modules, we studied chain rule and sufficient conditions for differentiability. Today, we shall start with discussing a problem in which we shall use these two. First of all, let us state the problem. Let vector r denote the position vector of a point in Rn and R be a scalar field on Rn defined by r equal to norm of the vector r. That means, if we consider a point in Rn, then r is the scalar field which gives me its distance from origin. That is, if we consider any point x equal to x1, x2 up to xn, then we have r operated on x equal to norm of the vector x, that is non-negative square root of x1 square added with x2 square continuing up to xn square. Now, if I consider n equal to 1, then it is nothing but the function which takes x to modulus of x. So, clearly this function r is not differentiable everywhere. For r, we find that it is not differentiable at origin. Now, let us consider any point in Rn different from origin. We can check that at an arbitrary point x, the partial derivative of r at the point x is xi bar r. We can find this by chain rule. Now, these partial derivatives exist at every point other than the origin, and obviously it is also continuous there. Moreover, we can always find a neighborhood of that point in which all the partial derivatives exist. So, if we consider any point x in Rn different from origin, the scalar field r is differentiable there. Therefore, for any point x obviously non-zero from Rn, we can check the gradient of r at the point x is nothing but the n tuple consisting of x1 by r, x2 by r continued up to xn by r. So, it is nothing but 1 by r x1, x2, xn, that is 1 by r vector r. We shall prove that for every point x different from the origin and for every integer p, gradient of the scalar field r to the power p equals p times r to the power p minus 2 vector r. If in the above relation we put p equal to 1, then we find gradient of r to the power 1, that is gradient r, equals 1 by r vector r, and we have already proved this result. Thus, the proposition is true whenever we assume p equal to 1. We shall use principle of mathematical induction to show that for every natural number p, the proposition is valid. So, we assume that the proposition is valid for some value k. Then we have gradient of r to the power k equal to k times r to the power k minus 2 vector r. From this we find the following: gradient of r to the power k plus 1, that is gradient of product of the scalar fields r to the power k and r. So, we can apply Leibniz rule here. So, we have using Leibniz rule and chain rule, this equals with r times gradient of r to the power k plus r to the power k gradient of r, that is r times k r to the power k minus 2 vector r plus r to the power k 1 by r vector r. Simplifying, we find gradient of r to the power k plus 1 equals with k plus 1 r to the power k minus 1 vector r. Thus, whenever this given expression is true for For a natural number k, it is also true for the next one. Moreover, we have first shown that it is also true for 1. So, using principle of mathematical induction, we can conclude that it is true for every natural number. That is, for every natural number p, we find gradient of r to the power p equals with p times r to the power p minus 2 vector r. So, the proposition is proved for every natural number p, but we are asked to prove it for every integer. So, it remains to prove the case whenever p is equal to 0 and p is any negative integer. So, first of all, let us investigate what happens when we put p equal to 0 in the above expression. The left hand side of the above expression becomes gradient of r to the power 0. Here r is non-zero. So, we have gradient of 1, that is the 0 vector. And if we look at the right hand side, it contains p which is 0. So, right hand side is also well defined and 0. So, this expression is valid whenever we assume p equal to 0. Now, we have to prove the result for negative integral values of p. So, we consider the expression gradient of r to the power minus p equal to minus p r to the power minus p minus 2 vector r. So, our proposition will be proved if we can prove that this expression is true for every natural number p. For p equal to 1, we find that at any point in R n different from the origin, gradient of r to the power minus 1 equals to the n tuple comprising of the partial derivatives of r to the power minus 1. That is, we have minus 1 by r square vector x 1 by r, x 2 by r up to x n by r, which equals with minus 1 by r cube vector r. So, we can write this as minus 1 times r to the power minus 1 minus 2 vector r. So, whenever we take p equal to 1, this expression is true. Now, we assume that the above proposition is true whenever we put p is equal to k. That is, gradient of r to the power minus k equals with minus k r to the power minus k minus 2 vector r. Then, gradient of r to the power minus k plus 1, we can write this as gradient of the product of r to the power minus k r to the power minus 1. Hence, by Leibniz rule, we find this is r to the power minus 1 gradient of r to the power minus k plus r to the power minus k gradient of r to the power minus 1. So, this is r to the power minus 1 minus k r to the power minus k minus 2 r plus r to the power minus k minus 1 r to the power minus 3 vector r. After simplification, this is nothing but minus of k plus 1 r to the power minus of k plus 1 minus 2 vector r. So, we use similar argument and hence finally, we conclude that for every point x in R n different from the origin and for every integer p, gradient of r to the power p equals with p times r to the power minus 2 vector r. Hence, the proposition is proved. Now, we are going to enter into our target, that is homogeneous functions and Euler's theorem. First, we shall discuss and define what do we mean by homogeneous functions, then we shall discuss Euler's theorem and some of its consequences. First, let us discuss some examples. First example, let f be a scalar field on R2 defined by f x y equal to x square plus y square for every point x y in R2. Now, let us replace the point x y by t times x y, that is t x t y in the above expression where t is a real number and see what happens. We find that f of t x t y equals with t square times x square plus y square. Second example. Here also we consider another scalar field on R2. Here the point x y goes to x cube plus y square, and like the earlier case we replace x y by t x t y where t is any real number, and we find that f of t x t y equal to t cube x cube plus t square y square. Now, unless t equal to 1, we can never express this as t to the power p f x y for some real p. If we compare these two examples, we can find some cases where for some scalar field f defined over a set A, where A is a subset of R n, for every suitable real number t, f of t x 1, t x 2 up to t x n equals with t to the power p f x 1 x 2 x n, where p is a real number depending on f, provided such t exists. If such case happens, the concerned function is called a homogeneous function. The formal definition is the following. Let A be a subset of R n, f is a scalar field defined on the set A, f is said to be homogeneous of degree p if and only if there exists a real number p such that for every point x 1, x 2, x n in A, we can find a positive R such that whenever modulus of t minus 1 less than R, f of t x 1, t x 2 up to t x n equals with t to the power p f of x 1, x 2, x n. Whenever writing this, we should be very careful that this t x 1, t x 2, t x n must lie in the set A, that is the domain of the function f. Let us cite some examples. Let f be a scalar field defined on R3 as follows: f x y z equal to x cube plus y cube plus z cube by x square plus y square plus z square for every x y z in R3 different from the origin. So, we can consider R3 the origin deleted as the domain of f. Here for every real number t different from 0, we can check that f of t x t y t z equal to t cube x cube plus t cube y cube plus t cube z cube divided by t square x square plus t square y square plus t square z square. In the numerator, every term contains t cube. So, we can take it as common factor, and in the denominator there is t square. So, t cube divided by t square leaves me t to the power 1. So, we have f of t x t y t z equal to t to the power 1 f x y z. So, here f is a homogeneous function of degree 1. In some of the text available, the condition imposed on the domain of t is positive. Now, one might think that homogeneous functions come into picture only when we consider quotients of polynomials. The next example shows that it is not so. We consider some scalar field defined as follows: f x y equal to x cube plus y cube divided by square root of x plus square root of y. Clearly, the domain of f is collection of all order pair x y where x positive and y positive. Obviously, this is a subset of R2. Clearly, for every non-zero t, we can find f of t x t y equal to t to the power 5 by 2 f x y. Now, let us consider one remark. In case the scalar field f is defined on a subset of R2, we can define homogeneity in an alternative way. We defined like this: for every suitable choice of ordered pair x y and real t, f of t x t y equal to t to the power p f x y. Now, if we put t x equal to 1, then the above expression turns into the following: f of 1 t y equal to 1 by x to the power p times f x y, that is f x y equal to x to the power p times f 1 y by x. So, we can represent this as x to the power phi some other function phi y by x. Thus, a scalar field f defined on a subset of R 2 can be called homogeneous of degree p if and only if there exists a real number p such that for every suitable ordered pair x y lying in the domain of f and for every real t in some neighborhood of 1, we can express f of x y equal to x to the power p phi y by x, where phi is a real valued function. Now, let us start Euler's theorem for homogeneous function. First, we give the statement: let A be an open set in R n and f is a scalar field defined on the set A, which is homogeneous of degree p. If f is differentiable at some point x in A, then we have inner product of x and gradient f at x equals with p times f x. Let us prove the result. Since f is homogeneous of degree p, we can find a positive real R such that whenever modulus of t minus 1 is less than R, we can express f of t x equal to t to the power p f x. We define a function g from the open interval 1 minus r to 1 plus r to the set of all reals by g t equal to f of t x. So, we can express g equal to compositions of two functions h and f, where h is a map from open interval 1 minus r to 1 plus r to R n defined by h t equal to t x. Obviously, h is differentiable at each point of its domain and h dash t is nothing but x for every t. Since h is differentiable at t and f is differentiable at h t, by chain rule the composite function g equal to f compose h is also differentiable at t. Moreover, g dash t equal to inner product of gradient f at h t and h dash t, that is gradient f at t x and x. Putting t equal to 1, we find that g dash 1 equal to inner product of the vectors grad f x and x. On the other hand, we have g t equal to f of t x equal to t to the power p f x. So, g dash t is nothing but p times t to the power p minus 1 f x. So, putting t equal to 1, g dash 1 is nothing but p f x. Now, if we equate both the values of g dash 1 we just found, we have inner product of f x and x is nothing but p times f x. So, here the proof completes. Now, one observation: the above relation can be alternatively expressed as follows: p times f x is nothing but inner product of grad f x and x, that is inner product of the vectors n tuple del f del x 1 at x up to del f del x n at x and x itself. So, we have x 1 del f del x 1 at x plus up to x n del f del x n at x. In short, we can express this as p f equal to x 1 del f del x 1 sum up to nth such term, that is x n del f del x n. In the following, we shall show that the converse of Euler's theorem is also valid. theorem. Let A be a subset of Rn and F is a scalar field defined on the set A. Also let we can find a real number p such that for every x in A, inner product of gradient f at x and x equals p times f x. That is, p f x equal to x 1 del f del x 1 at x plus sum up to x n del f del x n at x. Then f is a homogeneous function of degree p. Let us give the proof. As gradient f exists and all its components are continuous in some neighborhood of x, we can assume that f is differentiable. So, first of all, let us fix some point x in A. We choose positive r such that if t is in the open interval with endpoints 1 minus r and 1 plus r, the point t x also lies in A, that is f of t x is well defined. We define another function g from open interval 1 minus r to 1 plus r to r by g t equal to f t x minus t to the power p f x, that is g t equal to f of t x minus t to the power p f x. Clearly, g 1 is 0. Using chain rule, we find that g dash t is nothing but inner product of grad f t x x minus p times t to the power p minus 1 f x. On simplification, we find that it is nothing but p by t g t. Consequently, the ratio of g dash t by g t is p by t. Integrating both the sides of the above equation with respect to t, we find that logarithm of g t equal to logarithm of t to the power p times c, and consequently g t equal to c times t to the power p. Now, if we put t equal to 1, then we find that g 1 equal to c and it is 0. So, whenever g t equal to 0, we find that f of t x minus t to the power f x is 0, that is f of t x equal to t to the power p f x, where t is any number from the open interval 1 minus r to 1 plus r. Thus, f is a homogeneous function of degree p. Thus, the converse of Euler theorem is proved. Now, we discuss another theorem which we can call extension of Euler's theorem, but here we consider the domain as a subset of R 2. Let f be a scalar field defined on a set A which is a subset of R 2 and f is a differentiable homogeneous function of degree p. Then x square del 2 f del x 2 plus 2 x y del 2 f del x del y plus y square del 2 f del y 2 equal to p times p minus 1 f. Let us prove it. For the given homogeneous function f of degree p, if we use Euler's theorem, we find that x del f del x plus y del f del y is p f. If we differentiate both the sides with respect to x and y respectively, we find the following two: x square del 2 f del x 2 plus x y del 2 f del x del y equals p minus 1 times x del f del x, and x y del 2 f del x del y plus y square del 2 f del y 2 equal to p minus y times y del f del y. If we add them, we can find that x square del 2 f del x 2 plus 2 x y del 2 f del x del y plus y 2 del 2 f del y 2 equal to p into p minus 1 times f. One can easily check that here we have used the equality of mixed partial derivatives, and hence the result is proved. This module will come to an end with discussing the following example. Let us consider a scalar field u defined on R2 deleted the origin as follows: u x y equal to tan inverse x cube plus y cube by x square plus y square. So, clearly u is not a homogeneous function, but from u we can construct an homogeneous function as follows: v x y equal to tan u equal to x cube plus y cube divided by x square plus y square. Our target is to use Euler's theorem, that is why from u we defined another function v. Clearly, v is a homogeneous function of degree 1 in the variables x and y, and moreover it is differentiable. So, we use Euler's theorem and we find x del v del x plus y del v del y equal to v. Using chain rule, we can find that del v del x equal to sec square u del x and del v del y equal to sec square u del y. So, from this we have x del u del x plus y del u del y equal to half sine 2u. So, in this module we discussed homogeneous functions, Euler's theorem and some examples on them. With this module comes to an end.